We Know Baseball, episode 55. Appreciate everybody tuning in. We've got an amazing emergency episode today. Emergency in a good way. This is not a bad emergency. This is not bad breaking news. This is good news out of the world of baseball. It's nothing maybe incredibly unexpected of sorts, but a more recent development about the All-Star Game and about some of the starters, some of maybe the coolest news I think the sport has seen so far this year. We're going to get into it. And again, bit of a quote unquote emergency episode of sorts. Talk about a little bit of home run derby, talk about the All-Star festivities, and just get a little bit more action going. Because guess what? We know baseball. Appreciate you guys tuning in.
Let's go. Batter up. We're taking the afternoon off. It's a beautiful day for a home run, but even a triple's okay. We're gonna cheer and boo and raise a hullabaloo at the ball game today. At the ball game, a wonderful ball game
Today. Wow. Yeah, we say it every time, and today we mentioned it already. A little bit of an emergency episode. Thank you, one and all. Thank you, any and everybody, for tuning into the We Know Baseball podcast. My name is Ryan. At Ryan Knows Ball is my Twitter handle. At We Know Ball Sports, Instagram, TikTok. Check us out on YouTube. We've got some news out of the world of baseball, and you know what? We'll get into it in a minute. I'm going to tease that, man. I'm really going to tease that. Because we also have to talk a little bit other baseball news and noteworthy items. This last piece that we'll get to here very shortly, I promise, is the most newsworthy. But we do also have some other cool news in terms of the All-Star festivities and the home run derby. Now, the last time we talked, the home run derby field was not set. If I remember correctly, the last time we recorded just a few days ago in episode 54, I think the declared participants for the MLB Home Run Derby this year were Pete Alonso, Alec Boehm, Gunnar Henderson, Bobby Witt, and that might have been it. Maybe Marcell Ozuna, maybe Jose Ramirez. But I know for sure Adolis Garcia and Teoscar Hernandez were not declared. And so the finalized order, as I just mentioned them all, 8 guys, home run derby, Globe Life Field, Arlington, Texas. You've got Pete Alonso, Alec Boehm, Adolis Garcia, Gunnar Henderson, Teoscar Hernandez, Marcell Ozuna, Jose Ramirez, and Bobby Witt Jr. So, we like to do a little bit of sports betting, right? We're not incredibly active and engaged with it on these shows just because it's not the end all be all. However, it does give a really good indication of where the experts, if you will, where the algorithms and where the sports books see the value or the non-value, or, you know, it's a good indicator of what may actually happen, right? And as we go through, just as an example, the DraftKings Sportsbook, they offer obviously daily sports betting odds, and this is not sponsored, by the way. Trust me, I'm not getting paid for this, but it's the best place I think you can go to look and find your odds for most things, including the home run derby, right? So for those of you who don't know how sports betting odds works, it's really simple. The American sports betting odds system and how to calculate it out, especially in a situation like this, the home run derby, where there's no like clear cut, just two sides, you know, like a game. There's 8 participants and they have odds listed next to each one of their names. And it's really simple to understand in this case and in these terms. Plus, so I'm going to say plus before the odds of every player. And the plus tells you how much money you would win on a $100 bet. So just hypothetically, for example, let's say Shohei Ohtani was in the home run derby this year. He's not, but let's say he was. Let's say his odds were plus 200. That would mean, very simply, $100 bet on Shohei Ohtani to win the home run derby. If he wins and you took him at plus 200, you would bet $100 and your payout on top of your $100 would be $200. So pretty cool, pretty easy to understand. And as the numbers get larger in terms of the plus, in terms of the odds, that means the sports book or the odds makers are indicating this less likely that that person will win the home run derby. And we'll start at the top. We'll start at the least likely according to the sports books. Okay. The least likely odds, the longest odds for a player to win the home run derby this year in 2024 is Alec Boehm. They've got Alec Boehm from the Phillies at plus 1,600, right? You could say 1,600, whatever, 1,600. So you could bet $100 on Alec Boehm to win the home run derby. If he wins the home run derby and you bet $100 on him with DraftKings, you're taking home $1,600. Now that's a good little payout, but I wouldn't do it. Alec Boehm, in my opinion, has close to zero chance to win this home run derby. Not just because of the other participants, but also he's just like not a home run hitter. So I don't really know why he is participating, but I don't care. I mean, it's good. Good for him. Go do it. But he's got the longest odds of the entire group at plus 1,600. Next longest odds, Jose Ramirez. They've got Jose Ramirez listed here at plus 1,300. They've got Teoscar Hernandez at plus 1,000. And then it starts to tighten up a little bit. After Teoscar Hernandez, the final five participants, you go Bobby Witt Jr., Adolis Garcia, and this is in order of longest to shortest odds. Bobby Witt Jr., Adolis Garcia, Gunnar Henderson, Marcell Ozuna, Pete Alonso. Bobby Witt Jr. plus 550. Bet $100 on him to win. If he does, you get $550. Adolis Garcia plus 500. Bet 100 on him, you win $500. Gunnar Henderson plus 475. Marcell Ozuna plus 380. And Pete Alonso plus 340. So, what does that mean, and why am I saying all this? Because, believe it or not, I'm actually going to give a pick for who I think is going to win the home run derby with the finalized field. Last time we talked, there was no finalized field, so I couldn't do that. Now I'm going to, and I'm excited for it. Okay? There's a ton of value in the home run derby participants in terms of sports betting if you're able to bet on it. Pete Alonso's listed as the favorite. Marcell Ozuna is just there after him. You've got Gunnar Henderson, Adolis Garcia, Bobby Witt, Teoscar Hernandez, Jose Ramirez, Alec Boehm. Alec Boehm's not going to win. Don't even think about it. Jose Ramirez, love the guy. Not a home run hitter in terms of the derby and the way his swing is built. Don't bet on him. Teoscar Hernandez is a good hitter, but he's inexperienced. The moment's going to be a little too big for him. I wouldn't think about that either. Okay. I also eliminate Marcell Ozuna. This dude has a really shaky past. The crowd's not really going to be behind him in any term, any capacity. He's got a home run stroke, but I wouldn't take Marcell Ozuna. So plus 380 shows that he's the second most likely to win. I disagree. I heavily disagree. For the 2024 Home Run Derby, they've got Gunnar Henderson listed as the third most likely to win. I think Gunnar Henderson at plus 475 to win the Home Run Derby is by far the best value of anybody listed in the Derby so far. They got Pete Alonso as the favorite, plus 340. Pete, I know he's won the Derby. I know he's got that kind of wristy swing. He can crank out a ton of swings in a short amount of time. He knows what it takes to win. But he's not having a great year. He's getting paid pretty hefty. The last time he won the Home Run Derby, or I should say the first time he won the Home Run Derby, he was still on that rookie deal. So he was really motivated to go out and win the Derby, because you win the Derby, you get a big fat $1 million check. Pete Alonso, been there. He's done that. He lost last year to Vlad Jr. And I just don't think Pete's got it this year. I think He's having a little bit of a down year. It's a contract year. Does any of that really contribute? I don't know, but I don't think he wins it this year based on all those factors. Marcell Ozuna has better odds than Gunnar Henderson. Nobody really likes Marcell Ozuna. I mean, he's a pretty good player, but he's not going to have the crowd behind him. He's got this gigantic full body swing. He's not going to be able to sustain that type of power for the entirety of these long rounds where you're taking 40, 50 swings. Not going to take Ozuna. And the next odds is Gunnar Henderson. Young, athletic, short, quick, compact swing, rookie contract, wants the $1 million, motivated, head down. I'm taking Gunnar Henderson as my pick for the 2024 Home Run Derby. He's the third longest odds at plus 475, or the third shortest odds, rather. He's the third favorite behind Marcell Ozuna and Pete Alonso. No one's going to be rooting for Marcell Ozuna. Too long of a swing, not sustainable. Pete Alonso's been there and done that, could certainly pull it off, but I don't like his chances this year. He's having a down season. He's kind of only in the Derby because the MLB wants him in the Derby. Kind of lame. Don't love that. The only two guys I think Gunnar could have problems with are Adolis Garcia, the hometown guy, and Bobby Witt Jr. I think Gunnar Henderson has more pop than Bobby Witt Jr., more consistent pop. And Adolis Garcia has more pop than Gunnar and Bobby Witt. But I don't think Adolis Garcia can crank out as many swings. The guy's got distance above those two young guys. But Gunnar Henderson, young, motivated, on a rookie contract. Why is that relevant? Because if he wins the Derby, he gets $1 million, which is more than his salary this season. He's going to be pumped up. He's going to be motivated. I think Gunnar Henderson wins the 2024 Home Run Derby. That's my pick. My second place, or, sprinkles after that, would be the two guys I just mentioned. I'm going to take Adolis Garcia at plus 500. I'm also going to take Bobby Witt at plus 550. That's banking on Pete Alonso and Marcell Ozuna not going off. You can pretty much guarantee, at least in my opinion, Alec Boehm's going to be a non-factor. Teoscar Hernandez, good hitter, good home run hitter. Definitely see him making it, past the first round. Very likely. But after that, I think it's just gonna get caught a little bit, right? So my pick for the Home Run Derby is Gunnar Henderson plus 475. Not to mention, I just love him. That's super biased, but I think a lot of people love him. And I would be absolutely thrilled. I'd be thrilled and stoked. And I think most people would be if somehow, some way, based on the seating, because what I understand it to be, and let me look this up, MLB Home Run Derby rules 2024. They updated these rules for whatever reason. I don't really know why. Let's see. It is true. I'm reading this article here. It says, the Derby's field is not only star-studded, but also features an intriguing mix of young superstars and veteran sluggers playing under the new rules, which is highlighted. The new rules and format is not knockout style, doesn't begin until the semifinals. So last year, the entire Derby was an 8-person single elimination bracket with 3 rounds. So you got the 1 seed versus the 8 seed. Right? You've got, I think the seeding was based on how many home runs each guy hit. Kind of makes sense, I guess. But, the guy with the most homers coming into the break versus the guy participating with the least homers. 1 versus 8, kind of sorted out that way, and go elimination style bracket with 8 guys. This year, there's an element of a one-on-one showdown, but that won't come into play until the semifinals. This year's first round will have no predetermined seeds, and it will instead consist of all 8 hitters competing, with the top 4 performers in the first round advancing to the semifinals. At that point, the format will shift to number 1 versus 4, and 2 versus 3, and those seeds will be determined by the number of homers each player hit in the first round. So I think the incentivization, I guess, of that, the reason they're doing that is so that they can just see how many homers each guy can crank, right? They don't want, the 1 versus 8 seed. If the 8 seed goes out and has a bad round and hits 7 homers, well, the 1 seed only needs to hit 8 homers and then he's through. They don't want that. They want every guy to go out and just smash homers. But there is limitations. the new rules have limitations. Last year, there was no formal maximum number of pitches. There was no formal maximum number of pitches that a hitter could see during an individual round. It was still the case that a lead official had to notify the pitcher when he or she could throw the next pitch to the batter, based on whether it was clear that the previous batted ball would or wouldn't result in a homer. But beyond getting that approval from the official, there was no stopping a pitcher from going as fast as he or she wanted. This year, that is no longer the case. The first 2 rounds will still be 3 minutes, and the final round will still be 2 minutes, as was the case before 2024. Now, there is a maximum number of pitches each hitter can see in each round. The first round and semifinals will conclude whenever 3 minutes or 40 pitches comes first, excluding the bonus period, which happens afterwards. Likewise, the final round will conclude whenever 2 minutes or 27 pitches comes first. Bonus pitches are no longer on a timer. So you finish the round if you've got 40 pitches thrown or 3 minutes, right? Whatever comes first, basically. Then you got the bonus that's unrelated. Last year, there was an automatic 30 seconds of extra time granted to each batter at the conclusion of each regulation period. Then, beyond that, a hitter would also earn an additional 30 seconds of bonus time, giving him 60 seconds in total if he hit 2 homers of 440 feet in that regulation period. So last year, they go through their regulation round. If they had 2 homers at 440 feet or longer, they earned an additional 30 seconds of bonus time on top of the 30 that everybody gets. This year, the bonus pitches are different, both in terms of how they are acquired and how long the bonus period lasts. Instead of getting an automatic 30 seconds, each player now gets bonus pitches up until they record 3 outs within that bonus period. Furthermore, if a player hits a homer of at least 425 feet within the bonus period, then the bonus period is extended to the last until the player records his 4th out in that period. What? If a player hits a home run of at least 425 feet in the bonus period. Oh, okay. Very interesting. Then they get a 4th out to play with in the bonus period. And outs, by the way, outs are just non-homers, a swing that results in not a home run. So interesting. Yeah, so they just changed it up a little bit, right? And I think it's interesting, but I think all those rules, I think the event as a whole, I think the nature of the event, right? You got to take a ton of swings. You got to be line drive oriented. You can't be popping balls up. You can't get tired. All those things play into the younger guys. Pete's still young, but Marcell Ozuna's not. Teoscar Hernandez not so much anymore. Jose Ramirez not so much. And Alec Boehm just doesn't have enough pop, in my opinion. Consistent pop. Adolis could get it done as the hometown guy, right? But yeah. I like Gunnar Henderson. I like Adolis as my second pick, and I like Bobby Witt Jr. as my third pick. But yeah, that's the home run derby. It's exciting. I'm really excited to watch. It's one of my favorite events. All-Star rosters also. Yeah, home run derby. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be awesome. I'm trying to look up. So there were some All-Star replacements. Let me close this tab. So there's MLB All-Star rosters in 2024. Replacements that came in. Yeah, this happens with my browser a lot. Anyways, there was a couple replacements. If I remember correctly, so Kyle Tucker was named to the All-Star team, and he won't be able to play for an injury. So I believe Anthony Santander was named in his place. And the other was Willie Castro for Jose Altuve. I think those are the only two replacements. I was curious to see um I thought I didn't know if there was a replacement for Fernando Tatis Jr. I don't know. I guess I don't know. I thought there was, maybe there wasn't. Um as my thing here just wigs out. MLB All-Star replacements. Here we go. So this is updated from USA Today, starters and reserves for each team. The starters are what they are. Again, National League, like the starters include Fernando Tatis Jr. and he won't be able to play. Teoscar Hernandez, Elliot Rom, like I thought all these guys were on it already, but I guess not. Let's see. All-Star replacements. Here we go. Yeah, so they haven't been listed, and maybe they just listed them. Like maybe Teoscar Hernandez, Jackson Merrill. Who are the other guys? Elliot Ramos from the Giants and Brian Reynolds. So I think, yeah, I think looking at the American League roster for outfield reserves, they had Duran, Riley Green, and David Fry. No, he's the DH backup. Oh, they had Duran, Riley Green, and Kyle Tucker. Tucker's been replaced by Santander, so they only had 3 outfield reserve guys. The National League had 4 to start, I believe. And that's because I think they knew Tatis, as an elected starter, wasn't going to be able to play. The other All-Star replacements, as mentioned, though, Willie Castro is going to take the spot of Jose Altuve, and that also slides Marcus Semien from the backup role to the starting role in the All-Star game, which is cool, right? The Rangers get one of their guys starting in the game as the All-Star game is being held in Texas. Anthony Santander replaces Kyle Tucker, which is deserved for Santander. Jordan Westberg replaces Rafael Devers. Devers is I don't know what Devers it's got like a hand thing or a lower back or something. I think it's like his back. I don't know, but he's like, I'm not going to be there. Devers doesn't love the All-Star stuff. And then Hunter Green, the National League, in terms of pitching, is going to replace Tyler Glass now, who just got put on the IL as well. So those are the All-Star replacements. Pretty cool for Willie Castro. Pretty cool for Jordan Westberg, Santander. Santander and Westberg getting added. Serves me correctly. Let's see here. Santander is 1. Jordan Westberg is 2. Corbin Burns is 3. All-Star starters, Adley Rutschman is 4. And Gunnar Henderson is 5. So the what I was listing there is the Orioles have 5 players on the All-Star team. That's pretty cool. Good for them. And then lastly, guys, the biggest news, the news I'd been teasing, the news that everybody has probably seen at this point. Just announced by Major League Baseball, Paul Skeens will be starting the All-Star game in the National League against presumably some form of combination against presumably some mix in the first inning of Gunnar Henderson, Juan Soto, Aaron Judge. It's going to be must-see TV, right? This dude, Paul Skeens, gets announced as the starter of the National League All-Star team, coming off a start where he throws 7 no-hit innings against the Milwaukee Brewers. Paul Skeens has taken the entire league by storm. I'm not really sure what teams, what hitters, what anybody is supposed to do when they step in the box against Paul Skeens. And the pitch mix, the combo, is nothing but pitches at least 90 miles an hour or better. Every 4-seam he throws, minimum 99. Average fastball velocity is 99. Split fingered changeup sinker at 95, aka the splinker. He's cutters 93 to 95. He throws a little slider around 90. I don't know what people are supposed to do. I don't know what you're supposed to do when you face Paul Skeens. I mean, if I'm a hitter, if I'm in the bigs right now, I think it's just got to be sit fastball. It's just got to be sit fastball and try your very best to stay back long enough to foul off whatever else he throws. But if you get to 2 strikes, I mean, just pack it in. Just pack it in. There's nothing you can do against Paul Skeens. We haven't seen the likes of Paul Skeens or something like the likes of Paul Skeens. Put it this way. We haven't seen anything like Paul Skeens since Steven Strasburg. And we know people have heard that a lot, right? That's the comparison Paul Skeens has been getting. We haven't seen this type of hype and performance and then, execution on the hype and performance like Paul Skeens since Steven Strasburg. We haven't seen this much hype. Everyone said it when he came up. We haven't seen this much hype and then living up to the hype with Paul Skeens since like Steven Strasburg came up. So much hype. First pick comes up and then he just blows everybody out of the water. Totally true, but I think Skeens takes it to another level. I mean, he clearly takes it to another level. The guy comes up, gets called up in May to start his career, and 2 months later, he is starting in the All-Star Game. Starting for the National League. Strasburg was good. Strasburg was amazing, especially early part of his career. Came in, took the league by storm, struck everybody out. He was throwing 100 miles an hour, but he was throwing 100 with the fastball, had a really good changeup, high 80s, low 90s changeup, and a big breaking ball. Kind of the more traditional pitch mix. Paul Skeens has a better repertoire. He has been up for 2 months, and now as a rookie, he not only makes the All-Star team in 2 months' time, but now he's starting in the National League All-Star team. He's starting the game. I can't believe Paul Skeens is starting, but at the same time, it is absolutely the right decision by Major League Baseball, by Torey Lovello, the Diamondbacks manager and National League All-Star Game manager. I think that's the best possible thing that could happen for Major League Baseball right now, because you got so many kind of more veteran household names in terms of pitchers that aren't making a huge impact this year. Right? They're not really available. You got DeGrom, you got Scherzer, you got Verlander. These are all like Kershaw. These are all household names that aren't available for the All-Star Game this year for one reason or another. And you got Paul Skeens now coming in, and he's got the ability to blow this thing apart. I mean, in the best possible way. It's unbelievable, but at the same time, it's very believable. In fact, it's merited, and Paul Skeens has done nothing but earn the spot to start for the National League in the All-Star Game. I'm just struggling with it. I'm struggling with it in the best possible way because I'm at a loss for words, because as good as Paul Skeens has been, as much as he's already accomplished in his very young baseball career, including now being named the starter of the National League All-Star team, I'm struggling with Paul Skeens. I'm really having a hard time articulating exactly what's going on with this guy, because he's earned everything he's got. He's done amazing things in a very short amount of time. And I hesitate to say this guy has the potential, based on how young he is and the impact he's already made, to be an MVP in Major League Baseball, a multi-time MVP, to be Kershaw-esque, Strasburg-esque. This dude, Paul Skeens, is built physically, like literally built, and like emotionally and mentally built to do nothing but just dominate baseball for as long as he can. I mean, the guy's unbelievable. And the only time you've seen him like not strike everybody out and throw 6 or 7 shutout innings is when he goes out and gets ambushed and the hitters that he's facing sit fastball for however long it takes, a half inning. They touch him up just a little bit, and then he just mitigates the damage and shuts them down the rest of the time. Gave up a leadoff home run not too long ago to the Rays or whatever it was, and it was a fastball, and then the rest of the time, just nothing happened, right? And I don't know what these offensive teams are supposed to do. What do they talk about in the hitters meeting? Well, guys, his fastball averages 99 miles an hour. He throws a splinker. Yeah, that's a split-fingered sinker. Is that what that is? Yeah, well, it's not a split-fingered fastball. It's not a splitter because it's not slow enough to be a splitter. So when it comes in at 96 miles an hour and drops, you got to call it a sinker. But it's also a split-fingered sinker, so it's a splinker. It's 96. Just good luck with that, guys. If you see it, just chalk it. It's over. And then he's got like a sweeper / slider, but also he's got a cutter. Then he's got a regular 2-seam plus obviously the 4-seam like we mentioned. So, hey, hitters, just sit fastball. You get anything else, just chalk it, right? Keep your hands back as long as you possibly can. If you're somehow able to recognize non-fastball and try to foul it off. But for the most part, you got to sit heater and just let the barrel fly. And that's what some teams do. And then when he faces teams and they can't hit the fastball or he's locating it perfectly, it's over with. It's over with. So Paul Skeens' list is the starter for the National League All-Star team. I absolutely love it. I think it's the best possible thing for baseball. As the MLB All-Star Game lost a little bit of its value, quote unquote, with not making it determine home field advantage, which is the right choice. It's the right decision because if you win the most games of the regular season, you got to get rewarded somehow, and that should be by home field advantage in the World Series. The value of the All-Star Game has kind of dipped down a little bit, right? Because what's the real incentive for these guys to like go out and play their tail off? And the answer is there's none, but there shouldn't be because it's just a display of the game's best talent. But these guys shouldn't be putting their life on the line for a midsummer collection of stars when ultimately it's their team in the regular season that means more. That being said, with its kind of loss in value, the MLB had the perfect opportunity to put Paul Skeens not only on the All-Star team, but to have him listed as the starting pitcher in the National League, and they've done it. Now he's going to start the All-Star Game. And now, like, my ass is going to be, like, super glued to the couch 45 minutes before first pitch of the 2024 All-Star Game. Because I am not taking my eyes off of the TV screen for 15 minutes before and after Paul Skeens pitches in that All-Star Game. This dude by himself is must-watch TV. This dude, Paul Skeens, alone is always must-see. And now he's pitching on the biggest stage against, presumably, any combination of Gunnar Henderson, Juan Soto, Aaron Judge, whoever and anybody they want to throw in the starting lineup in the top 3. It's going to be Paul Skeens facing him. And oh my God, am I going to watch that? And so many people are going to watch that. It's literally like, I don't even know what you would even call, like what the comparison would be. It's like, I don't even know. There is no comparison. But the MLB got it right. They got it done. And the decision to name Paul Skeens as the starter for the National League All-Star team has single-handedly boosted the ratings for the All-Star game in Major League Baseball this season. Probably 2x, maybe 3x. I mean, I know my ass is going to be on the couch, glued to the couch, eyes locked to the TV 45 minutes before the game, just so I do not miss a single second of that Paul Skeens situation. Going to watch the first inning, however long he decides to pitch in that game or what they do with him. But Paul Skeens against the top of the order of the American League All-Star team, it's must see. It's must see. This is the stuff we're going to tell our grandkids about, right? It's like when my parents and my, the older generation was like, dude, no, you should have seen Pedro Martinez in the All-Star game at Fenway Park against the top of the order of that National League All-Star team, right? Whoever it was, McGuire, Sosa, Larry Walker. Then he went back out for the second. Like, he was just punching tickets. People were like, no, that was like historically one of the greatest moments, in baseball history, at least in the 90s. And now we've got the opportunity for that. This is going to be grandchild story type stuff in the All-Star game in 2024. Grandpa, did you see Paul Skeens pitch? Hey, not only did I see him pitch, I saw him pitch live in the All-Star game as a rookie. I saw him go out against Gunnar Henderson, Juan Soto, and Aaron Judge and tear him apart, or whatever the case happens, right? Who knows? But that seems like the most likely scenario based on what he's done so far. The dude is an absolute monster. Can't wait for it. Can't wait. Hopefully you guys are tuned in this upcoming week. Monday, the Derby. Tuesday is the All-Star game. There's also some other events mixed in. Saturday, which in my case would be tomorrow, is the Futures game. Always a good watch. 7 innings, the best prospects in baseball from across the league, across the levels as well. I mean, it's not just like, oh, the best AAA player. No, like there's guys in this game that are single A, double A, triple A. Rookie ball, I think, has happened from time to time. But you're going to see them all, and it's pretty cool. So tune into that if you are interested. But yeah, otherwise, hopefully you guys enjoyed episode 55. It was, again, a bit of an emergency episode in the best way possible because we got Paul Skeens starting the All-Star game. That is so cool. That's so cool. I can't wait. Hopefully you guys can't wait either. Excited for it. Kind of refreshing to have a little bit more of this, like butterflies and like, oh, dude, let's go. Like All-Star game, right? Because like I said, man, I don't know what year it was. I want to say like, honestly, like 15 or 16. One of those years with the change of the All-Star game not determining home field advantage in the World Series. It's the right decision, but it also, people are kind of like, oh, okay, well, in that case, yeah, maybe I'll turn the game on, but, going to see some highlights anyways, so who knows, right? Whereas before it was like, dude, we got to watch this game, right? Watch this game, watch what happened, remember what happened, and then follow the postseason, and, oh, it's this team and that team. Well, they get home field, because remember the All-Star game? Now it's like, right? And that's kind of how the All-Star game's been for the last few years. Right? We won't tune in, is what it is. Doesn't determine home field, which is the right thing, but I'll see some highlights later on. It's a Tuesday. I don't know. Now it's like, oh my God, Paul Skeens is starting. Oh my God, he's facing Juan Soto, Aaron Judge, and Gunnar Henderson. Yep, I'm going to be watching. Yep. I will be watching that, like, intently. And it's going to be awesome. Can't wait. Hopefully you guys can either. I think I said that already. But yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting to have that little like, ooh, let's go, right? Ooh, baby. Hopefully you guys enjoyed episode 55. We Know Ball, at We Know Ball Sports, Instagram and TikTok. Check us out on YouTube, We Know Ball. My handle on Twitter, at Ryan Knows Ball. Check us out anywhere and everywhere you want. All of our social handles are in my Twitter bio. Got a link tree in there that takes you to a page with all our social channels. So be sure to check us out. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, really, really appreciate it. Episode 55 in the books. Let's get into the All-Star break. Let's get past the All-Star break, and let's get into the heat of the season. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. We'll catch you guys next time. Peace.
Batter up. We're taking the afternoon off. It's a beautiful day for a home run, but even a triple's okay. We're gonna cheer